Hi, my name is Abigail Short, and the clips in this video are from the spring semester of 2025. The first two clips are from a class on imagery in music. We explored techniques, styles, orchestration, and instrumentation that are commonly used by composers to evoke specific images, ideas, or emotions. To begin the class, I had everyone close their eyes while I played an excerpt from Harry Potter's Prisoner of Azkaban. While they were listening, I wanted them to take note of the images that came to mind from the music. They then shared it aloud with the class. I then had them all watch the clip and compare what they were seeing in their head to what the film was portraying. You will hear their reactions if their ideas were similar or different. I used this as a way to kickstart the class and get them engaged with music from the beginning without any technical terms or jargon that they would learn later on in class. If you'll close your eyes, I want you to imagine what you hear or what you see when we listen to this little excerpt. And just think about it, and then we'll share it, and then I'll show you what it's showing. So close your eyes. Okay, you can open your eyes. Who wants to share what they had going on in their head? Raise your hand. Brad.
There were birds, there was fast movingness, and it was outdoors.
Okay, Jacob.
When I heard the bell tone at the beginning, I was like, this is like a gothic area with cool architecture, and it felt like there was some conspiring going on, or some tiptoeing, maybe, secretive.
Yeah. Anybody else want to share what they had? Luke?
It reminded me of Peter and the Wolf. I just think of like a little mouse trying to escape a bird or something.
Anyone else? Alright, let's see what it was.
Oh my god. Gothic?
I almost said Hogwarts. I almost said Hogwarts. Should have said it.
The bird, I kind of knew exactly what scene
This
is.
was my brain.
So this part isn't in the movie, but this is in the soundtrack.
Cool.
Is this from Azkaban?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it returns. The second clip is from an activity at the end of class. I divided them into 3 groups and gave each 4 photos and a prompt. Their job was to come up with some orchestration and stylistic ideas that would portray the scene that they were given. So this is what they saw. Their prompt was that they're in a storm on the ocean on a boat. So what did you guys...
We had a few. We thought we would definitely use an orchestral bass drum to simulate the thunder, and then potentially, if you know the sound where you shake a piece of sheet metal
Oh, yeah.
to make sound thunder. But then also Binyang talked about like fast moving scales up and down to represent both the wind and also the movement of the waves.
Yeah, cool. What about this group over here, group 2? What did you guys think? So they had a peaceful morning. They were looking at the sunrise over the mountains. Very contrasting to what group 1 just had.
So we said for waking up, we would maybe orchestrate it like with a flute, and maybe even reference Peer Gynt's Morning Mood by Edward Reed. We could use rolled cymbals for like creating like suspense. Chelsea mentioned a bowed vibraphone for like light rays, I think.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think you could do like an establishing shot, like you could have it open with like a really big low brass chord to portray the mountains.
Cool.
Like that.
And our last group, so they're walking down a crowded street in a big city. There are a lot of people, a lot of cars.
We said some quick rhythms to represent like some cars honking and stuff, maybe some brass or like oboe type interruptions in there, some like ostinato rhythms, and then different instruments for the different things going on, like the people or cars.
This next clip is from a lecture on written interval identification. I divided this into 3 main portions, the first being numerical intervals only, ignoring the quality and focusing only on the numbers. On their worksheet in class, I used the first 4 measures of Movement 1 from Mozart's Piano Sonata in C major. We then added the quality of the interval label, and the second portion of their worksheet was providing both quality and number. In the third portion, which you're about to see a clip of, they were given the bottom note and tasked with drawing the upper note using the interval provided. I then had groups show their answers on the document camera for the rest of the class to agree or disagree. So for example, this first one, we'll do it together. What is this first note? B. If we're ignoring that M for a second, what is a second above B? C. And so in the key of B, what accidental or quality should we have next to that C to make it major?
Sharp.
Awesome. So we would draw a C sharp. So go through and do the rest of the 8. Let's do it in groups of 4 this time. So this side of the room and this side of the room, and then we'll compare. I'll give you 4 minutes.
Time to link up.
You all see that? Team that's sitting down, what do you think?
Approve.
Approved.
That's good to know.
Great job. The final 2 clips you'll see are from a lesson on timbre. We focused on both vocal and instrumental timbre as found in popular and classical music. In this first activity, I divided the class into bands, and they each selected a song of their choice to perform utilizing multiple vocal timbres. As each group performed, the other band had to identify which timbres they were hearing. This allowed for the students to explore the vocal manipulation and the feeling of different timbres.
Yep. Ready.
Choice we're making, we're saving our own lives. This shall we make a better day? This
Wow! To demonstrate instrumental timbre in a live capacity, we utilized Noche by Orlando Jacinto Garcia. The students were able to hear changes in both instrumental timbres in person and to ask questions of both instructors. We ended the class with an Ask Me Anything style of discussion which allowed their natural exploration and thoughtful thinking. In this final clip, you'll hear a flute and clarinet playing an F natural, blending our timbres, and the students had their eyes closed and had to point to the clarinet sound. To further emphasize the variety of timbres within the same instrument, I then played that same F natural, but with a harsher tone and more vibrato.
Wow, that was so hard.
I was wrong.
Yeah. So
Why is he farther
I
back?
saw a lot of
Yeah.
looking back and forth, yeah.
Well, it was such a clue because we knew where you were sitting, and when you were sitting there, I was able to tease apart the sounds because I remember where you were sitting, but I was completely lost when you did it that time.
We
It's really
almost
cool.
stayed in the same spot, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But if I were to play it with, you'd be able to tell there's a more brash sound and obviously the vibrato waves.
I think at the distance too it helps because I can no longer pinpoint the kind of note.
Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you.